The bell above the cafe door rang softly, but the sound hit him like thunder. After 12 years, it was still the same. Same chipped wooden counter, same scent of roasted coffee beans, same corner table where dreams were once built and broken. And there she was, standing behind the counter, wiping a glass with calm, steady hands. His breath caught. "I knew you'd come back," said a waiting cafe owner, but she had already moved on. Before we go deeper into this story, take a moment, if you believe in second chances, in love that changes people, and in the quiet power of forgiveness. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that need them. Ethan Carter had spent years imagining this moment. In sleepless nights across cities he never truly belonged to, in the hollow victories of promotions and paychecks, in the silence that followed every failed relationship. He had pictured walking back into this cafe, into her life, and somehow fixing what he had shattered. But nothing had prepared him for how still everything felt. Claire Bennett didn't rush to him. She didn't cry. She didn't even smile the way she used to. There was no storm in her eyes, no trembling in her voice, just quiet recognition, the kind that comes not from longing but from acceptance. And that was the first crack in Ethan's chest. Years ago, this place had been their beginning. Back then, Claire wasn't just a cafe owner. She was a dreamer with flour on her hands and sunlight in her laugh. Ethan had been the ambitious one, always chasing something bigger, something beyond the small-town streets of Oregon. He had loved her, or at least he had believed he did. But love, he realized too late, wasn't something you leave behind in pursuit of success. Because that's exactly what he did. He left, no grand goodbye. No promise to return, just a letter and a plane ticket to New York. He had told himself it was temporary, that he'd come back once he made it. But life has a way of rewriting promises we never truly intended to keep. Claire had waited. For months she had watched that same door, hoping the bell would ring and he would walk in with regret in his eyes. She baked his favorite cinnamon rolls every morning, even when they remained untouched. She kept his mug on the shelf, refusing to let it gather dust. But waiting slowly turned into healing, and healing eventually turned into letting go. Now, standing across from her after more than a decade, Ethan saw the result of all those silent battles she had fought without him. She wasn't broken. She wasn't bitter. She was whole in a way that made him feel like a stranger in a place that once felt like home. He tried to speak, but words felt heavy, like stones in his throat. Every apology he had rehearsed sounded hollow in the presence of her quiet strength. Claire finally looked up at him, her expression soft but distant, not cold, just complete, as if she had already closed the chapter he was trying to reopen. Ethan stayed in town longer than he planned. At first he told himself it was just to sort out some unfinished business, maybe even to help around the cafe like old times. But deep down, he knew the truth. He wasn't ready to walk away again, not like this. He started coming in every morning, sitting at the same corner table, ordering the same coffee, watching her from a distance as she moved through her day with purpose and quiet grace, and slowly he began to see things he had never noticed before. The way she greeted every customer like they mattered, the way she remembered small details about their lives, the way she laughed, not as loudly as before, but more deeply, more genuinely. She wasn't the girl he had left behind. She had become someone stronger, and that realization hurt more than any rejection ever could, because it meant she didn't need him anymore. Days turned into weeks. Ethan found himself helping around the cafe again, fixing small things, carrying supplies, doing whatever he could to feel useful. Claire didn't stop him, but she didn't encourage him either. She simply let him exist in the space he once abandoned. It was a quiet kind of forgiveness, but not an invitation. One evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky in soft shades of gold, Ethan finally gathered the courage to speak from his heart. Not with rehearsed apologies, not with excuses, but with truth. He told her about the nights he couldn't sleep, about the success that felt empty, about the realization that he had spent years running away from the one thing that had ever truly mattered. He didn't ask for her back. He just told her he was sorry. Claire listened, really listened. And when he was done, she nodded slowly, as if acknowledging not just his words, but the journey behind them. Then she spoke, not to reopen old wounds, but to close them gently. She told him she had loved him deeply once, that losing him had broken her in ways she didn't think she could recover from. But she also told him that in the process of rebuilding herself, she had found something stronger than love. She had found herself, and she couldn't lose that again. It wasn't anger in her voice. It was peace. And somehow, that was harder to accept. If this story is touching your heart, take a moment to like, share, and comment. And here's a special request. Comment below. Some love teaches, even when it doesn't stay. Let's see how many hearts this message reaches. Ethan didn't leave the next day, or the next. He stayed, but not as someone trying to reclaim the past. Instead, he stayed as someone learning to live with it. He found a small job in town. He rented a modest apartment. He built a life, not out of regret, but out of understanding. And sometimes, in the quiet mornings when the cafe wasn't too busy, Claire would sit across from him for a few minutes. Not as lovers, not even as what they once were, but as two people who had shared something real, something meaningful, even if it wasn't meant to last forever. And in those moments there was no pain, only gratitude. Because sometimes love isn't about holding on. Sometimes it's about letting go and becoming better because of it. And Ethan finally understood that the greatest second chance he had been given wasn't with her. It was with himself.